So let's talk about something that's deeply confusing and, honestly, pretty dangerous. Getting into a relationship with a real-world psychopath. And look, we're not talking about the Hollywood monster with an axe. We're talking about that charming, manipulative person who can hide in plain sight and just quietly take your reality apart piece by piece. Let's really try to get our heads around how this even happens.
You know, one of the first things you almost always hear from someone who's survived one of these relationships is exactly that. It's this universal memory of a start that felt, well, absolutely flawless. Like it was magic. Like you'd finally found your soulmate.
And that right there is the big question, isn't it? What if that incredible, overwhelming, too good to be true perfection isn't a sign of true love at all? What if it's actually the first move in a very calculated game?
Okay, so to really understand this, we have to move way past the stereotypes we see in movies. The real danger of a psychopath isn't that there's some obvious monster, it's their incredible, completely disarming charm. Right, so you've got the myth on one side, the axe-wielding villain. We all know the type. But the clinical reality? It's way more subtle. And honestly, because of that, it's way more dangerous. It's the attractive, smart, socially skilled person who seems completely normal. Heck, even ideal. And that's exactly why they're so effective. They hide right out in the open.
So what are we really talking about here, psychologically speaking? Well, it's a personality structure. And the key ingredients are a profound lack of empathy, a complete inability to feel guilt, and really shallow emotions. They can mimic feelings, but they don't actually feel them. And underneath it all is this insatiable need for control, which is usually hidden behind that very convincing charm.
And that's where their playbook comes in. It all starts with a phase that psychologists call idealization. Now to you, it feels like the greatest romance of your entire life. But from their side, it's a highly calculated process of seduction.
And here is the absolute core difference. This is so important. During this early phase, you think you're building a deep, genuine connection, a bond. But from their perspective, something totally different is going on. They are studying you. They're assessing your needs, your insecurities, your biggest dreams, and they're figuring out exactly what you need to hear. And this process, it's not random. It usually follows a very clear pattern. First, they assess you. Then they mirror you, basically becoming a perfect reflection of your ideal partner. Next up is the love bombing, just overwhelming you with attention, gifts, and affection. And finally, they rush the intimacy, pushing for serious commitment before you've even had time to see the cracks in the facade. So what are those early red flags? What does this actually feel like? Well, does the intensity just feel overwhelming? Are they talking about marriage and kids on the third date? Does the speed of it all just feel completely unrealistic? If it does, that's probably not romance. It's a tactic.
But once they've got you hooked, once that trust is locked in, that's when things start to shift. The mask begins to slip, just a little, and a whole toolkit of manipulation comes out, and it's all designed for one thing: to gain and maintain control. And their primary tools are, well, they're insidious. You've got emotional whiplash, where they're incredibly charming one minute and ice cold the next, just to keep you off balance. Pathological lying, which is literally as natural to them as breathing. Constant blame shifting, so absolutely nothing is ever their fault. And then there's the slow, subtle isolation from your friends and family.
Okay, and one of their absolute favorite tools is gaslighting. This is where they deny reality so convincingly that you literally start to doubt your own mind. They'll say, "I never said that," when you know they did. They'll twist facts around and make you feel like you're the one who's crazy for even questioning them. It's incredibly corrosive. This ties right into their blame shifting, this idea that they are always the victim. Just listen to how they talk about their past. All their exes were crazy. Every boss they ever had was jealous. All their friends betrayed them. It's this carefully crafted picture of themselves as the perpetual, innocent victim in a world that's just out to get them.
And here is a fundamental truth you have to understand. A stable, peaceful, happy relationship is boring to them. It actually annoys them. They need constant stimulation, constant drama. So if things get too calm, they'll pick a fight, create a crisis, or sabotage something just to feel that rush of chaos.
And all of this chaos, it inevitably leads to the end game. This is the most painful and confusing part of the entire cycle. The devaluation, and finally, the discard.
You can really boil the entire arc of the relationship down to 3 brutal stages. First, they idealize you. You are perfect. You can do no wrong. Then they devalue you. Suddenly, everything about you is flawed. And finally, they discard you, treating you as if you are completely worthless.
And that discard is just shockingly cold. They can end things, disappear, move on to someone new overnight, all without showing any real emotion. It's as if the entire relationship, all that intensity, all those promises, it's like it meant absolutely nothing, because to them, it didn't.
So the big question is, why is it so hard to just leave? Well, the answer is often something called a trauma bond. It's this powerful psychological addiction to the abusive cycle itself. Your brain gets hooked on the roller coaster, the intense highs of the love bombing and the crushing lows of the devaluation. You're not addicted to the person. You're addicted to the chaos they created inside your own brain.
But, and this is a big but, there is a way out. So let's shift gears and talk about the practical, actionable steps you can take to reclaim your life and find your freedom.
The path forward is clear, but it requires discipline. It starts with awareness, just seeing the pattern for what it really is. Then comes detachment, refusing to get pulled into their drama. Next is creating real distance, both physical and emotional. And the final, most crucial step of all is going completely no contact, cutting off all access to you for good.
And look, if you're ever in doubt, just do a simple gut check. A healthy relationship feels calm. It feels safe, consistent, supportive. A psychopathic relationship feels intense, confusing, unstable, and just utterly draining. The contrast couldn't be more stark.
Ultimately, you have to learn to trust yourself again. That nagging feeling in your gut that something is off, that tension in your shoulders when they walk into the room, that is your nervous system screaming the truth at you. You have to listen to it.
And this might be the hardest pill to swallow, but it is the most important. You cannot fix them. You cannot love them into having empathy. You cannot heal them with your kindness. That is not your job. Your only job is to save yourself.
And that really brings us to the most important takeaway of all. This is not a game you win by outsmarting them. It's not a relationship you fix by trying harder. The only victory, the only way to protect your spirit and your sanity is to recognize the predator for what they are and just walk away.